We'll call to order this work session Monday, November 15th. Invocation given by Mr. Stewart and the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Ashburn.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the very many blessings you've given us. We ask now that you watch over these proceedings and they'll be pleasing in your sight. Please watch over the employees and citizens of Scottsboro as they go about their daily lives. Please watch over the military and bring them home safely to their families. Guard, guide, and direct us so in the end we mark unto thee. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin, I'm going to give everybody here some dates because I know what most everyone here for, and I want to explain that there'll be no votes tonight. This is a work session. It's against the law for us to have votes tonight. So next week will be a regular meeting, and we'll have votes then. At that meeting, this is the work session. We'll discuss the Goose Pond stuff tonight. At that meeting, the vote will only be to move forward with having a public hearing. So then after having that vote, if it does pass to have a public hearing, we would have that public hearing on December 1st. So Wednesday night at 4 o'clock, so that we'd have it separate from a meeting so everyone could have more time to speak and say what they need to. After that, has to wait 15 days to have a vote. So the next meeting after that will be December 20th. So to approve or disapprove that. So that's your dates for votes. And so you can mark those on your calendars, what days you want to be here. So, and then I'll go over at the end of the night the meetings for the rest of the year. So we'll move straight into number one, which is our service awards, and understand one couldn't be here and one's sick. So we're going to move those to next week right off the bat. So we'll move both those to next week. So we'll go to number two, discuss the proceeding with rezoning the property at 218 Bob Jones Road. Mr. Chapman. And Mr. Chapman, before you begin, your dates will be the same as those. We'll just keep these two together and move them on.
Okay. Good evening. My name's Mark Chapman, and I'm the owner of Chapman Storage here in Scottsboro. I'd like to thank the council for the opportunity to be here this evening. I'm here seeking approval to rezone a parcel of land we own located on Bob Jones Road. This parcel of land is adjoined to our current business and commercial property. Chapman Storage has been in business in this location in Scottsboro for 31 years. Our business is growing, and we're wanting to expand our current operations. The proposed parcel or property to be rezoned is currently zoned in both the C3 and R1 zones. Right now, we're currently surrounded by commercial businesses and commercial property on all sides of our property. In short, we're a growing business looking to expand on our current operations on our existing property. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm happy to answer any questions the council might have.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Chapman on this? Hearing none, we'll move that to next week's meeting.
Thank you.
Number three, discuss the street dedication in memory of Dr. Wayne Patterson. Mayor, can you go over that?
Yes, we've had a request to dedicate a portion of Highway 279 South Broad Street from the intersection of Alabama 79 and 279 to Ida Moody Road in memory of Dr. Wayne Patterson. This is a state highway, so the request would be for y'all to authorize a resolution to send to Senator Livingston to take to ALDOT to get approval to do that.
And this is not changing the name. This is just
that's correct.
Dedicating part of the road and
in his memory, correct.
And this would just be putting up 1-2 signs?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions about that? Hearing none, we'll move back to next week's meeting. Number 4, discuss the resolution for the ALDOT maintenance agreement for the traffic signals at County Park and 72. Mr. Little?
Good evening. In your packet tonight, you should have 2 agreements from ALDOT, and one is a agreement for the upgrade and maintenance of the traffic signal that's located currently out there, County Park Road and US 72. As you know, that's part of the safety project, and that is scheduled to bid in December, December the 3rd, I believe. So they're asking for a resolution once they upgrade that signal for us to maintain that. Also, there's agreement in your package for a additional signal. It's for the installation, operation, and maintenance, and it's at the Scottsboro Commons driveway intersection. So that's a separate agreement for a second signal that they're asking for us to pass a resolution, and so we can sign those and send those in for that.
Anyone have any questions, Mr. Little, on the 2 traffic lights? Hearing none, we'll move back to next week's meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. Number 5, announce the library board vacancies. Ms. Phillips, can you go over that?
Brenda Ivy's term on the library board expired October 2021. This is a 4-year term. Also, there is still a vacancy on this board that expires in October of 2024. Anyone interested in either one of these terms should apply in writing to the city clerk's office by 4:30 on Friday, November 19th, 2021.
So it's 2 vacancies on the library board. Anyone have any questions on that? We'll move out to next week's meeting. Number 6, announce the museum commission vacancies. Ms. Phillips.
Gerald Polk, Susan Waldrop, Greg Shepard, and Penny Holcomb's terms on the Museum Commission Board expired October 2021. These are 5-year terms. Anyone interested should apply in writing to the city clerk's office by 4:30 p.m. on Friday, November 19th.
Okay. So you got 4 vacancies there. Any questions on that? We'll move that to next week's meeting. And number 7, announce a zoning adjustment board vacancy. Ms. Phillips.
Claire Porter's term on the Zoning Adjustment Board expired in June of 2021. This is a 3-year term. Anyone interested should apply in writing by 4:30 on Friday, November 19th.
Any questions on that? We'll move that to next week's meeting. All right, 8, discuss the proceeding with rezoning property located at Goose Pond Island. Mr. Tucker.
Distinguished members of the City Council, we appreciate this opportunity to come before you and discuss the proposed Colonnades project. My name is Kevin Tucker. I'm the land planner for Southern Summit Group. With me tonight is Michael Hodges, who is the surveyor and engineer for the project. The developers are out of town and could not attend this meeting, so I'm speaking on their behalf and will do my best to enlighten you with where the project stands as well as the neighborhood as well. The project was originally proposed as a P2 planned development district. After 2 neighborhood meetings and the public hearing at the Planning Commission, it was decided to withdraw the P2 zoning. We listened to the community, we listened to all the comments and discussion at the Planning Commission meeting, and the decision was made to pursue straight zoning. So, in addition to that, last week, the developers, Mr. Lopez and Mr. McCall, met with Mr. Christopher, Mr. Lawler, and Mr. Lackey, and the presidents, the 4 presidents of the Homeowners Association, in an attempt to bring to some kind of consensus concessions that would make a difference in terms of moving forward with the project. As a result, and I have provided you with a list of the concessions that we are proposing. The 70 townhomes that were proposed on the R5 site have been withdrawn. Instead, there will be 25 single-family residences. 14 of those would essentially contain approximately 15,000 square feet. They would be a minimum of 80 feet wide. There would be an 11 60-foot wide single-family residences on North Shore Drive that would share dual drives, such that there would only be 6 curb cuts for those 11 units. R1 single-family would be zoned to R4 multifamily, which would be 26 acres, and that would contain 220 apartments along with 80 condominiums. R1 single family would also be rezoned to C3, which would be storage for household climatized goods as well as vehicles and boats. R2 single family would be developed behind the R1 single family, and we'll look at exhibits that will show this. They would be developed behind the R1 single family lots on Goose Pond Island Drive and North Shore Drive, and that would be 80 acres. In terms of the actual concessions, we mentioned that the townhomes would be eliminated. We would develop a separate intersection on Goose Pond Drive to serve the multifamily development. That would be the apartments and the condominiums. That road would also serve as a construction road for the other single-family development and would ultimately provide direct access from the R2 portion of the development to Goose Pond Drive. There would be no relocation of North Shore Drive. North Shore Drive would remain in its present location, therefore no construction inconvenience associated with that. We would eliminate the future intersection of the Loop Road from the intersection of where Lake Point entrance is. The other thing that does is make less traffic flow onto North Shore Drive once that Loop Road is developed. We would develop a construction access road to facilitate the proposed R2 single-family sites. We would prohibit construction-related parking on North Shore Drive and Goose Pond Island Drive. Many of the residents have commented there's a very dangerous situation out there with all the construction traffic that blocks the road. Within the covenants, conditions, and restrictions to get a house approved for construction, the contractor would actually sign a contract that they would park within development construction zones and not on the roads. We would increase the size of the R1 lots that would be developed on Goose Pond Island Drive and North Shore Drive by 13%. In essence, they would be a minimum 100 feet wide and a minimum 170 feet deep. And then we would connect the R2 road network to the new intersection for the apartments. Above and beyond what the zoning allows the developer to do, there are additional things that Southern Summit Group is willing to do as it related to not just developing a subdivision. Straight zoning basically provides for just that, a subdivision of land without a whole lot of thought or even any public access space or sidewalks. So Southern Summit Group will still provide an overall master plan, so the Planning Commission, the council, and the neighborhood will see exactly what is proposed before plats are actually prepared for the project. We will develop very strict covenants, conditions, and restrictions to ensure quality development. And as I mentioned previously, we will see that construction parking does not occur on public roads. We'll work with the existing HOAs for the common and best interest of the island as well as the city. The Southern Summit Group wants to blend their efforts with the overall well-being for the island. As we have discussed before, we're pursuing the development of a loop road that will provide not only convenience but also safety for everyone on the island. A community park will be developed. We will continue to pursue through TVA a boat launch and a boat dock. Sidewalks will be developed throughout the project, and landscape improvements will also be provided. I've provided each of you with a packet of what the proposed changes are, and if I may take just a moment, I'll point these out. So this was where the commercial was originally proposed. That is not being pursued. R4 is where the apartments and the condominiums would be developed. The C3 is where the storage would be developed. And the brown is the R2, the 80 acres of single-family development. Everything that is along Island Drive and North Shore Drive would be R1. And if I may, I'll just share this with the audience as well. This would be the storage. This is Goose Pond Drive. This is the existing entrance. I'll show you in just a minute where the new road would come in. This would be the apartments and the condominiums, and then this would be the R2 single-family development. As I mentioned, everything along Island Drive and North Shore Drive would remain R1 with expanded area for those lots. So this again explains how the zoning would occur. The R1 would remain along North Shore Drive and Goose Pond Island Drive. This is the R5 area. As I mentioned, all the townhomes would go away. There would be 14 lots in this location. There would be 11 lots in this location. We would modify this intersection such that there would be less traffic congestion at that intersection. The new access would be right here off of Goose Pond Drive.
That access is almost right at the plant,
It's
is it not?
almost right at the plant.
Okay.
There's actually an intersection there now.
Okay.
That intersection would be modified because at some day it would intersect with the other end, the western end of the overall loop around the property.
On that R5, what is that gonna be again, the pink and the yellow?
Single family.
Single family.
I'll show you how those lots are
They,
laid
do
out.
they touch the water?
They do not. No,
Okay.
the TVA, that green area is the
611, 601?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what you see in orange would be the new road that would serve the R2. And then this is where the intersection would be for the loop road as opposed to where it was before at Lake Point. That way, with this configuration, it's gonna be closer for a lot of these people to exit through here and out and alleviate traffic on North Shore and Goose Pond Island Drive. This shows the location of where the park would be, the boat launch, and community docks. Now, the boat launch and the community docks, that's a TVA approval for that. We have submitted preliminary plans, but we've not started that formal application as of yet. Any other questions on this one?
Why is R5 instead of R1?
Well, that's the present zoning.
Okay.
It's R5 now. We could put 70 townhomes as we did before,
I'm with you.
but we've listened and we've made some changes, and hopefully that's evidenced by the plan. So, can everyone see? So, this is the new access that comes into the R2 area. You see where the R1 is. There is no commercial. This is the R5, where the townhomes were presently. There would be 14 lots in this location and 11 lots in this location. Community park, and then this is the intersection to the loop road, as opposed to where it was down here, so it doesn't interfere with folks leaving Lake Point. That congestion would be diverted. We have cul-de-sacs, we have this point of ingress and egress, and this point of ingress and egress. All the construction traffic for this part of the development is going to come in through here. And that would be maintained within the individual phasing of development. We would most likely start from the rear and work to the west. Yeah.
On the pink and the yellow, you said you call lots. What is the zoning that will be on those?
This is R5.
That will be R5?
It is R5.
It is R5.
Yes, ma'am. But I'll show you what the lots look like on the next exhibit. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Is the, now show me what this, excuse me, North Shore Drive is, please.
North Shore Drive is where it is.
So are there driveways coming off of this onto North Shore?
There would be driveways on North Shore, yes.
Sir, I have a question. So your proposal is a public boat launch to market all of the houses to use the boat launch that you're gonna have in the neighborhood?
Thank you for asking the question. It would be a private boat launch.
But for your homes,
For
all the
res-
homes?
well, for residents only, but we've offered, and the same offer still stands, if anyone in the development that's there now would like to have access to that facility, if it is approved, or frequent the park and any other common areas that we would have, that offer is still on the table for you all to participate with that.
Right, but note that none of the communities now have boat launches. We have marinas, but not boat launches.
I think, the promenade, doesn't it have a boat launch?
Yes, probably does as well.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Tucker, how did you say that the apartment and condos would be accessed?
They would be accessed with this entrance right here, off of Goose Pond Drive. This is the apartment layout, that's the condominiums, and that's the storage facility. So their entrance would come through here. This would actually be an entrance to the apartments off of this, which would be a public road, that would be a private road.
So it would be a new road essentially that would be created to access that?
It would be, let me share this with the
Okay.
council first, because we kind of jumped ahead. Let me go back to this exhibit. This will answer your questions about the single-family lots in the R5 area. So at 40 feet back, these lots are a minimum of 80 feet wide. And you can see how that intersection is altered so that we don't have a congestion right here with a lot of drives within that intersection. And that would become just a small park area and a identification feature. These lots would share a curb cut so that there would only be 6 curb cuts and minimize congestion there. That would be the boat launch and just some green space and community docks there, the R1, and then the R2 behind that.
How would the bathing go? Well, what
extra copies, but I can provide those. The city has those on record. Yes, ma'am. We're happy to share those.
Those R1s, are those
This is still R5 zoning.
the green R1s? Is that going to, are there driveways onto North Shore, or are there driveways?
No, they will have a driveway to North Shore or Goose Pond Island. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Tucker, your original proposal had 633 family units. How many are you anticipating in this development?
There's gonna be about 70 less.
70
We
less.
haven't completed the master plan, so I don't wanna say specifically, but there's gonna be less.
All right, thank you.
So everyone gets the gist of, even though this is R5, we're making a concession and a commitment that this is the way this would be developed, rather than the 70 townhomes that were originally presented. Yes, sir.
Sir, does the bypass road connect all the way back to Lake Shore?
You're talking about, this road,
Yes.
it goes all the way, you know where the entrance
Yes,
is
sir.
to the aluminum plant?
Yes.
That's where that road would intersect with Goose Pond Drive.
And it does, but it does connect back to,
This would be a loop road that we're working on, such that it would go around the aluminum plant and then come back out at this intersection. So in the event of an emergency or just traffic or whatever else, there's an alternate route.
and this new road that you're building all the way through, would that be any wider than the current road? Goose Pond, North Shore Drive is, I'm told, 24 feet wide.
24.
Would this be wider?
This, portions of this would have a 60-foot right-of-way, cul-de-sacs, and the secondary part would have a 50-foot right-of-way. It would still be a 24-foot road width.
Mr. Tucker, on that particular map you have there, where the pink and the purple is,
Yes.
where exactly is the Revere plant in relation to that? I'm just not sure I picked up.
The plant is right here. There's basically 100 acres. That's the boundary, and it extends on back here. Thank you. Mr. President, that concludes my presentation. If there's
Appreciate
any
that, Mr. Tucker.
questions.
Anyone have any question for Mr. Tucker on this? Okay,
We're back to scratch now. Okay. Should this not go back to the planning commission?
no, sir. It doesn't have to go back to the planning commission.
The reason the planning commission denied it in the first place is they didn't have all the proper documentation. They didn't have a style of homes being built or anything. A lot of the covenants wasn't covered in there. After the fact, the homes are built. That's why it was turned down from the planning commission. Now they're starting from scratch, starting over a whole new master plan and everything. Shouldn't this be drawn and going?
Actually, it was turned down planning commission because of the P2.
Correct.
And so,
We're no longer doing that. So,
exactly.
okay, but we are rezoning now, so shouldn't this
Yes.
master plan go back to?
Can I explain how the rezoning works? As far as the planning commission, all they do is make a recommendation to us. So if it went back, it's still coming back here.
Right, I understand.
So they vote to recommend or not. That's
We
it.
don't have a master plan at this point, is what I'm getting at.
But see, the master plan was dependent on the P2. They have to have a master plan with the P2. Mr. Little, am I correct? They don't have to have it, just R2.
But they're gonna provide us with,
But they're willing to provide
they
that.
don't have to.
Yes.
They submitted everything they needed to the planning commission to make an intelligent decision on. They didn't leave nothing.
Okay. You know, repeat that, sir.
They submitted everything that was required for the planning commission to make a recommendation to the city council initially.
Okay. Anyone else having questions for Mr. Tucker up here?
I have one, Mr. Tucker.
Okay.
I was asked this by a resident of the community down there, and I didn't have an answer. He said, what's the difference between the apartments and upscale apartments?
Okay. The, going back, and this would still be a commitment, there would not be any federally subsidized apartments developed. These would be upscale apartments of quality and not subsidized by any government agencies or funding.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions, Mr. Tucker?
Is there a definition for upscale? I mean, what are you talking about? 600 and up, $1,000 and up, or do we know yet?
I would hate to put a price tag on it. Finding an apartment below $1,000 right now
Right.
is pretty difficult. One thing that I also provided you all with was just a brief snapshot of the economic impact of the project. And also is a report from the National Housing Bureau and what is happening in the apartment industry. People have asked, why would someone come to Scottsboro and rent an apartment and work in Huntsville? Well, there's statistical data in that article that tells you why people will do that. They're looking for a better price point. They're looking for more value for their money. Many of them work from home. If there is one breadwinner in the family, they're willing to drive and get a little more for their money by living in a suburban area than an urban area. So that document was quite timely in terms of what is happening in the apartment industry.
Any other council members have a question, Mr. Tucker? Okay.
Will the apartment still be subject to the HOA?
Yes, absolutely. They'll,
right.
the CCNR, yes.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Tucker, we'll put this on next week's meeting. There'll be a vote next week to move forward with a public hearing where we would all be able to discuss. I guess everybody did it tonight anyways, but you'll be able to discuss and have questions for him at that public hearing.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
we've tried to be open and keep communication open. Mr. Little has the information packet that we submitted tonight. If you want to contact him, I'll be happy to email any information that we've submitted to the city. So, for any questions that you have, I think most of you all have submitted some questions and we've responded. And we'll continue to do that. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. We're about to get there. You're welcome. That will conclude the meeting, and so we'll move to delegations, and this is you, Wayman. Say your last name for me.
Burke.
Burke. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, council and mayor and city leaders. I'm Wayman Burke. I hope to be one of your constituents before long. I have property here. And I'm not opposed to a development. I know development is coming. It's good for the city. And with proper oversight, I think it can be a very successful thing. I've been around building all my life. My father was involved in it. But the thing that I'm concerned about the most, and I've had some very nice people talk to them about this, and I know it's expensive, but it's the width of the road. And that is Goose Pond Island Drive and North Shore Drive are 24 feet wide, I'm told. The street I live on in Huntsville is 31 feet wide. And when the yard people are having birthday parties for their children, all legitimate things, it's a one-lane road. Now, I haven't seen this in detail, but I counted the number of driveways that would be along this 1.8-mile stretch from the entrance under the railroad trestle down to the promenade in Oaks. It's 1.8 miles. There would be, give or take, 75 driveways. That's a lot of traffic, and when you add to that friends visiting, people are going to park on the streets. And I would argue that it's imperative that you deal with this issue up front rather than have to deal with it later in eminent domain and those issues of taking people's yards away from them. This is simple. It'll cost a lot less money. I don't know if the developers pay for it. I don't know if the city pays for it. I don't know if it's some joint agreement, but you can eliminate a lot of problems if you deal with this now rather than later. And I just call upon you as the leaders of this city to take that initiative and address that, because it's only going to cause you and your successors headaches down the road, and the people who currently live there and the people who will live there in these new homes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. No other delegation. Move to reports, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have anything tonight.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stewart.
I don't have anything this evening. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Mr. Ashburn.
I don't have anything either. Appreciate y'all coming out.
Thank you. Ms. Tolliver.
I don't have anything, but thank everybody for coming out and supporting us. Thank you.
Not even gonna go Wildcats.
And go Wildcats. Go Wildcats.
Mr. Dahl.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Southern Summit Group and the community from the Goose Pond Island. I think this is very good for our city to get together and hash out our differences in this way. Scottsboro needs more housing, needs more apartments. You can't rent an apartment right now. So it's very important to the city that we get some of this stuff going. And but I just appreciate the cooperation between the two groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dahl. I agree with you, Mr. Dahl. I appreciate y'all working together and putting together another plan, and that I think everybody's more on board with than the first one. And I also wanted to point out that the commercial part, I didn't say it during it, but it stays R1. Yes, okay, all right. I just want to go over the scheduling for the rest of the year as far as meetings. Next week, of course, we'll have a regular meeting. We went over what will be voted on that meeting. 11/29, that's the fifth Monday, there'll be no meeting. 12/6 is a work session. 12/13, we'll double up that night and have a meeting and a work session. And then 12/20, a meeting. And that'll end up the year. So if y'all didn't write as fast as I thought, just let me know and I'll get that to you. All right. And don't forget 12/11, the Christmas parade. Put that down on your schedules also. With that being said, appreciate everyone coming out. We're adjourned. Go, Nathan.
Yeah, not all of it, but here you go.
Go, Nita.
I'm
I'll send it out.